WWE Backlash is finally here, the first PLE after WrestleMania. We got 5 matches on this card, including a John Cena announcement. We're going to get into that in a second. But first, feel free to like, subscribe, comment, all the usuals, you know. But let's get into this WWE Backlash 2026 card. First, we have the John Cena huge announcement. Now, I can't imagine that this is going to be anything more than just a club WWE announcement, because he's also been all over the marketing for it. He's been all over the commercials, and I think he's going to be the big spokesperson for whatever this is. The only other thing I could think of, if it's not club WWE related, is it would be WrestleMania 44 in London or something like that, because apparently they keep saying it's a groundbreaking announcement, and I think it's just going to be something club WWE related. Okay, but now for the matches on the card. First, we have Asuka versus Io Sky. Now, this is a bit of a weird one because they did release Kairi Sane recently, so that was the feud was kind of hinging off of her. I think they were going to have her ultimately fire back at Asuka and turn babyface, but then they released her because TKO's stupid. So I think they're going to have I think they're going to have Io go over Asuka. I know there's been rumors of Kairi Sane returning for one more payoff to end the feud, you know, but I don't know if that's really going to happen. It might, which would be cool and would make sense, but ultimately I think hopefully it'll be a great match. You know, Io's one of my favorites. I met her at WrestleMania, but I think it would make the most sense for Io to go over Asuka. Next, it is The Miz and Kit Wilson versus Danhausen and a mystery partner. Now, I actually read yesterday that apparently the mystery partner would be Jelly Roll. And why? Jelly Roll, I'm sure, is a fantastic dude, but however, I don't know what TKO and WWE's obsession is with celebrity involvement. I feel like they're so invested on bringing in new fans that they don't appreciate the fans that they already have. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? However, going back to the match, if it's not Jelly Roll, my idea was the mystery partner would be CM Punk, because it would be a big pop, and CM Punk and Danhausen are actually close, so why not? However, I do think that Danhausen and the mystery partner will get the win over The Miz and Kit Wilson. Next up is an interesting one. United States Champion Trick Williams versus Sami Zayn for the United States Championship. Now, I only think the rematch is on the actual PLE because, you know, Triple H doesn't like to book a bunch of matches on the cards now for some reason. I think it's going to be Sami Zayn turning heel fully, and I think they're going to swap babyface. Sami's gonna turn heel. Because last night on SmackDown, it was Sami Zayn kind of firing back at this whole gingerbread man funeral thing that they were doing, which is stupid. We are entering 2019 level WWE bad. This is not good. This is not good television. There's pieces in the company that are good. There are segments that are good. There's been great matches. But then there's this. And it's just, what are we doing, man? The gingerbread man funeral? Why? I don't really think Sami's gonna win. I think Trick is gonna ultimately get the win again over Sami. And I think ultimately it's gonna make Sami go mad and Sami's gonna turn heel on Trick. And maybe this feud will continue. I don't know. But I think Trick is gonna retain the US title. Next, Braun Breaker versus Seth Rollins. Now, I've been saying that Braun Breaker is ultimately favored to win the match. I don't really know if that's the case, because if you've noticed, I feel like almost every week since WrestleMania, it's been Braun getting the upper hand on Seth. He's spearing him, he's attacking him, etc., etc. And I think it's going to have ultimately, I think it's going to be Seth maybe even rolling up Braun and keep saying, you know, how Braun's not ready. And I think this feud is ultimately going to conclude around SummerSlam, and that's where Braun is finally going to get the win over Seth and have that big moment for him. But I think Seth is going to get the upper hand here because, again, Braun just kept beating him up, spear after spear, you know. I don't know. That's just where my head's at, so I think Seth's going to take the win. And finally, in the main event, World Heavyweight Champion Roman Reigns versus Jacob Fatu for the World Heavyweight Championship. I think this is an easy win for Roman. Not easy, but I think they're not going to have Roman drop the title the next show after WrestleMania. That's just not going to happen. If Roman does lose the title, it's going to be at one of the big fours, maybe even SummerSlam. We'll see. But I think Jacob Fatu is a good first opponent for Roman. I think they're going to have a great match. Hopefully they have pretty good chemistry. I think Roman's going to go over There's no reason to have Jacob Fatu win the title. If Jacob Fatu does win a world championship, I do also think it could be at a Big 4 pay-per-view or PLE. Yeah, I just think it's one of those first opponents for Roman, and then he's going to move on to someone else at Clash in Italy. Or they'll continue the feud, I have no idea. But ultimately, I do think that Roman Reigns is going to retain the world title. So those are my WWE Backlash 2026 predictions. Let me know what your predictions are. Let me know what you think. The show is tonight. I meant to film this like a while ago, but I was so caught up on finishing that WrestleMania vlog. It is out. Go check that out. But these are my Backlash predictions. Hopefully it's a good show tonight. It should be, ideally, because, you know, it got some great matchups on the card. Yeah, at Backlash.